Hello and welcome along to Snooker Extra. So John Higgins has appeared in the last two finals here at the Betfred World Snooker Championship, but he's fallen on both occasions. He is the four-time world champion, looking to make it a fifth world title. Can he do it? Well, let's bring you up to speed with what happened in the first session against Mark Davis yesterday.
That's a gorgeous shot. Really nice shot to play early on. Nice and positive. Oh yeah, struggled in, but that'll do nicely. Yeah, vintage wizardry from the wizard. He's off and running.
It's close. It's there. Played it well. It is missable. But played it nice and controlled the cue ball perfectly. So now back in prime position.
Oh, what a way to get back in amongst it. Beautiful shot. Shot of the match, actually.
Well, gave that lots of thought, and in the end thought it was value, and it's value now.
Oh, this time that will be the end.
Not bothered about the black. Shakes Mark Davis's hand. He wins the session, 6-3.
So it's advantage to Higgins in this best of 19 match. Our commentary comes from John Virgo and Ken Doherty.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The 10th frame. Mark Davis to break.
Mark Davis gets the 10th frame underway. And obvious to say he needs a good start, trailing John Higgins by 3 frames. And what happened in the first session here, Ken, there was 2 occasions where Mark Davis broke off, left this red to the right corner as he's done here, and John Higgins won the frame. And that was the only shot he had, and he's left it again. But missed this time.
Yeah, it's amazing how the break-off has become such an important part of the game now. Players are so proficient at that particular shot, or the red around the back of the black and back up for balk. Luckily for Mark Davis, John Higgins missed that one. But yeah, years ago, John, when you won the toss to break off, you'd always elect to break. Whereas now, a lot of players choose their opponents to break off, hoping that one of those reds will be left on.
Well,
Tried to miss the bunch of reds and stay on the black into the same pocket. Didn't impart enough check side, as it were, on the cue ball. Didn't see any of the first session of this match. John Higgins obviously in good form, but remarkably, Mark Davis has a better record in the head-to-heads. He's been such a great campaigner over the years, Mark Davis, the oldest man now. I'm not sure it's a title that he would have liked to qualify for the World Championship, but he's been around for a long time, a very capable player against anybody.
Mark Davis won.
Won't
John
be too
Higgins,
happy
sir.
with that. And I don't think John Higgins will put him back where the cue ball. He'd rather put him back from where the cue ball finished up.
Yeah, that was an odd one, wasn't it? Trying to play with a bit of side and swerved it and missed the black completely. You can just find a path back to baulk, but with that cue ball tied to the baulk cushion, it's not going to be easy. But if he misses the brown, he's played this well. That's an excellent shot. As I say, needs a good start. 3 frames behind. Yeah, it was nip and tuck early on. John Higgins made a nice 100 break in the second frame. Good quality stuff. Well, there's a mistake from John Higgins. Not left anything easy. Red just below and to the left of the black is available. You would take it on if you felt you had a clear path up the table to blue or baulk colour. And he's eyeing it up, so he must have a nice potting angle. Good potter, Mark Davis, that's his strength.
Well,
Yeah, good shot. Just got to avoid the black. Could have done with a bit more pace and being top side of the blue. May have to go in and out of baulk. Got to avoid yellow and brown and green here. You could drop the blue in and then leave the red sort of mid-distance. Well, he's going to go and try and negotiate the path through the baulk area. Well, a little kiss on the green, and it may have worked out okay. It's not too bad. He'll settle for that.
6.
Black does pot as well into the bottom right-hand corner pocket. He's had a quick look. And he may be able to pot this red and use the red that's close to the left-hand side cushion. Just stop the cue ball anywhere around there. He could be okay. Maybe he's going up for blue. Well, he ended up hitting that
7.
red. But could have played on that red, John. Could have played and tried to stay on the black. A bit surprised.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't the first frame of the session, he probably would have dropped it in, but I think there'd be a little bit of nerves, a little bit of tension in the arm, and you'd rather punch the ball in rather than trickle it. But he should have no problem coming in and out of the baulk with the green not being on its spot. Just all about getting the speed right. Played it nicely.
12.
Yeah, it's funny how people have good records. I mean, John Higgins, one of the all-time greats, and as you say, head-to-head, they've played 12 times, and Mark Davis is 7-5 in front.
There's not many players on the circuit that would have a better head-to-head record against John Higgins. For me, one of the best players that I've ever played, and one of the best match players. Got a great temperament. And of course, he's won this wonderful championship 4 times. Could have won it a couple more. Lost in the last couple of finals. Wonderful final last year against Mark Williams. Another great final a couple of years ago against Mark Selby.
Yeah, when he looked, he had a good lead at one time, didn't he? But Mark Selby pegged him back. And I think those disappointments, and particularly the final last year, was one of the main reasons that John was losing
18.
sort of heart with the game. But there's nothing like the crucible to spark a bit of life back into you.
Nice.
You saw John Higgins just having a little look behind Mark Davis. And that red certainly wiped its feet, didn't go in cleanly, but went in, and he's on the black. Love to get the cue ball back in the same position where he is now for the red into the same pocket. And lost the cue ball. And the reason he lost the cue ball there, if we do see a replay of the black, it didn't go into the middle of the
26.
pocket. Just have a look at where the black went in off the jaw, and that's made the difference of where the cue ball ended up. He'll be very disappointed. It's a tricky red to play, but if he does manage to pot it, he only has to drop it in. He could play a nice little cannon on the black, but very, very missable.
Decided he can't reach it, and playing with the spider doesn't make it any easier.
Nicely here.
27.
And the good thing about this is he's got a slight angle on the black. He can get back up for red into the opposite corner pocket. Again, these balls aren't going into the middle of the pocket, John, but they're going in just about.
34.
Have a look at this. Oh, knocked a few times, isn't it?
$35.
Red on the pink spot, pots into the bottom right-hand corner pocket. Just a little bit straight. You can see the red there, just below the pink. Well, he's played on a couple of reds, and that's worked out. A treat. Excellent shot. Good opportunity now to win the frame from this visit.
A little bit straighter on this red would have been better, so he may have to play a little cannon here and just nudge the pink towards the middle pocket. I decided not to risk that, so I played it firmer, but wrong side of the blue. Just one loose red to play for. Played this well. Played it very well. And now imperative off this red. He gets a nice angle. You would think for the off the blue to try and cannon into that cluster. And if they open well, this could be a frame-winning visit.
57.
Perfect on the blue. Now you need to hit the top red. If you hit it full, that will keep the cue ball in the middle of the table. Doesn't have to hit it particularly hard. Oh, he took his eye off the pot. How many times do we see that? Concentrating so much on the cannon. Forgot the pot on the blue. He goes to his seat, 51 points in front, but there's still 67 remaining as we see that. What can only be described as a careless miss.
Yeah, and he had a little bit of a result as well, John. Could have left that red into the left corner pocket. Not a bad safety shot from John Higgins. Covered the pathway down the left-hand side of the table. And Mark Davis has got to be careful here. He doesn't knock one of these reds close to this bottom left-hand corner pocket. And that's exactly what he's done. And look at the red coming over the left middle. Ooh. Well, now chance for John Higgins for a counter-attack.
Yes, and if there's one thing that he's renowned at, it's situations like this. Stealing frames. Well, he's played that a funny way. I thought he may have potted that and screwed off the right-hand side cushion and played for the black. OK, he's on the pink, but hampered. Strange choice.
John Higgins 1.
Even the best feel the tension at the crucible.
One.
Oh, what a let off for Mark Davis. He would have been faring the worst when John Higgins came to the table there, but uncharacteristic miss there. I totally agree with you, John. I thought that the initial red from John Higgins was very heavy-handed.
Eight.
So 2 snookers required. Now I think if John Higgins does come back to the table, well, he probably will, with it being the first frame, probably a bit of potting practice. And of course 2 snookers is not beyond the realms of possibility. But he wants some table time.
One.
Yes, and if you could pot this black and the red that's close to the bottom right-hand corner pocket next. And take another black with this red. And the red that's behind the black spot.
8.
He won't be taking that with a black. He'll be knocking that
9.
up into the balk area and trying to get the snooker behind the black. You'll always play on, particularly when you've got reds on the table, because there's always a chance of a free ball. So he needs 2 4-point snookers, but if he gets a free ball, certainly could be back in the game here. Doesn't want that red going into the middle pocket. Oh. Well, that's end the frame now. You would feel, unless this black goes in.
Keeps his slender hooks alive with that good pot on the black.
24.
34 points behind, 27 remaining. Trying to get this tight up behind the green.
24.
It's a good line. Is it going to run? He's got there. He's got there. Thinking of the possibility of a swerve, but that'd be a tough one.
Yeah, this is the possibility. Like the mark of Zorro there, John. Look, twice across. Good shot. It just made it a little bit easier, the fact that the yellow was close to the cushion there. If it had been a few inches away from the cushion where the cue ball could have got around the yellow, it would have made it a bit more difficult, that shot. But a good escape. But yeah, there's not many better players in the world for getting snookers than John Higgins, that's for sure. So Mark Davis will be aware of that. But that was an incredible angle, wasn't it, for the red, the last red, to go into the middle pocket when John Higgins was getting the cue ball in behind the black. the snooker, but again, quite an easy escape, you would feel, for Mark Davis.
Just not quite got the pace. Mark Davis will be glad to see the end of this yellow. Long way away. He played the pot there, believe it or not. Well, there's a snooker. Looks as though it might be easy to hit. I don't know. It's difficult to say. Don't know whether he can. I suppose you'd like to hit the other side of the middle pocket, but the pink's in the way of that. If he comes down the left-hand side of the table as we look, then there's a danger you could collide into the black. So it's not as straightforward as it looks. And it's a big swerve.
Yeah, it is a big swerve. Maybe worth having a go, but you've got to be very careful with this. Oh, good shot. Very good.
And that, of course, is the problem at this level. When you need a couple of snookers, they've got to be very good ones to force your opponent into a mistake. Decided not to play the pot that time, and he could have got a snooker himself here. That's handy. Not only has John Higgins got to hit the yellow, he's got to get it safe. I think the yellow passes the green, and you can just see enough of the yellow. And of course, if he pots it, that will be end of frame. So he took his time, but in the end, just what he wanted to do, needed to do. Won the first frame of this second session. Still 2 behind, but hanging on in there. Mark Davis trails John Higgins 6-4.
The 11th frame.
So John Higgins
John Higgins to break.
breaks off in this 11th frame. Let's see how good this break is, and will he leave a red for Mark Davis? Good break. Pretty close to the ball cushion, and that's, even if you do leave your opponent the possibility of a pot, if you can get it close to that ball cushion, it just makes it that little bit more difficult. And even with the safety,
Quiet as possible, please.
Precise. I'll be certainly happy with that.
But once again, but for the brown, well, he may just be able to get through to this one to the right corner. He nearly left an easier one to the left corner there. Yes, he can get through to it.
One.
That was the problem, though. The only ball he could really play on was the black, and well, even though he can pot the black, I don't see any value in playing it.
No, but a good pot nonetheless, wasn't it? Nice and straight, and they're always so difficult when they're that straight, John.
Yeah, and it'll make him feel better, particularly after the first frame when he had a chance to steal and played a poor positional shot, but still didn't expect him to miss the pink to the middle.
You see the experience of John Higgins there, getting that cue ball again. Very close to that ball cushion. Mark Davis has got to be careful. John Higgins purposely blocked the pathway down the left-hand side of the table, and particularly for that red ball that's close to the bottom left-hand corner pocket. And that's what Mark Davis has to cover when he's playing this safety shot. Has he got the cover? I don't think so. Played it very aggressively, didn't he? Brought more reds into play, but he's left this red.
One.
Played it well. It's one of those where you had to really get hold of the cue ball so it didn't run into another red. Not ideal on the blue, but he's all right.
But it just shows you the small margins, doesn't it, John? Getting that cue ball tight to the ball cushion, how much more difficult it makes the safety, and forces a slight error, even though it was a really good return of safety from Mark Davis. Didn't get the cover on that red, and John Higgins ready to pounce.
Seven.
Just got into that a little bit too much. Once again, he should be okay. He's only the blue and bought colours to play for at the moment. He wouldn't be risking the black along the top cushion, particularly as I think there's a red that's occupying the black spot at the moment.
But
no one needs to tell John Higgins how to build a break. Bit of work to do with the cue ball here, because I don't think the pink's available to the middle, so deep screw, trying to get back up for the blue.
90. Yeah, sure.
He wasn't happy with the contact. It was like a dead white. It seemed to not have any reaction at all when it struck the red.
Yeah, just watch it jump. You see the red ball jump up in the air. Took all the pace out of cue ball. And unless he pots this yellow into this corner pocket, this is a big shot. A bit of pressure on this one. Coming back down for the red next to the blue. Yeah. Oh, wait for it.
John Higgins. 90.
Yeah, there was a bit of pressure on that. I'm quite a long way away, but he'd be absolutely livid with the contact on that previous red.
Yes, and with that yellow not being too easy, he got down and played it pretty quickly, probably more out of frustration. Should stop sometimes and count to 10.
Well,
Had no option but to play for the black. Now I have a feeling that there's a red occupying the black spot. If that's the case, I'm not certain where the black will go when it's respotted. Yes, there you see, black spot not available. Anyway, more importantly, don't miss this black. Now, where does it go? Highest available, which appears to be the green spot.
8.
Blue's slightly tied up with the yellow, so good positional shot on the pink here.
9.
Played it nicely. But what it's my imagination, Ken. I know you didn't do the first session, but Mark Davis seems to be a little bit more quicker around the table than he was yesterday. And it is important, isn't it, to get that rhythm. You know, you don't want to go too quick, you don't want to slow yourself down.
15.
But he's come out in a very positive frame of mind.
Yeah, there's the average shot time. 25 seconds for Mark Davis, 22 for John Higgins.
16.
It's brisk enough. To force the cue ball over there, it was almost straight on that pink.
22.
May take the pink to the right centre after this red. Could screw back and have it back into the same pocket as the red, but nicely played.
Can't see
29.
any reason why he can't win the frame now at this visit. I know the yellow and blue are a little bit awkward, but these remaining reds that are in the open with pinks, and of course if he has to go up to the balk end, there's a black there waiting. Very good chance to reduce his arrears to just 1.
36. 37.
18.
43. 44.
30 points to lead.
50.
Red, pink, red would do it.
51.
It's been a good, confident start for Mark Davis so far. Only blemish was, of course, missing that blue off the spot in the first frame, but got away with it.
57.
John Higgins, a bit unfortunate getting a heavy contact when around the pink area with that kick on the red. John Higgins is well aware of Mark Davis's capabilities, and now he knows that he's in a right match
64.
and dogfight. He's got to be on his game, on the top of his game. But he's going to get through to
Mark
the next
Davis,
round.
64.
He's coming back into the table, John Higgins, but he's 44 points behind. Barron Snooker's Mark Davis has reduced the deficit to just one. John Higgins to lead 6-5.
Well, nice snooker. A little bit careless, that, really, of Mark. He should have just made sure of the red. You know, he should have been sat in his chair ready to set them up again. Okay, 2 snookers. But 1 snooker and a free ball, as we always say. That's what would be required here. All you had to do was roll that red in rather than playing it with pace.
Yeah, totally agree. I think the problem is the nervous energy that you're born up as well, the needless energy that you're born up when you know you should be sitting in your chair getting ready for the next frame. And with the position of the black and the brown, the yellow and the blue, colours are in good spots for snookers, and there you see it's Mark Davis who gets the first one.
Yeah, you were right, though. They are in good position for snookers. Wrong man.
This looks good. This looks very good. If it runs, just ran out of pace.
And the problem is with this type of shot, you're frightened to play the cut because you always think you might be going off somewhere. Well, he's potted it. Clean. No enough. Frame over.
Four. 6. 9. 13. 18.
So this was just the start he was looking for. Doesn't matter about the pink.
Mark Davis, 18, and the frame.
And Mark Davis has won the first 2 frames of this second session. And John Higgins now only leads by 1, 6-5. Now let's see if Mark Davis has found a way to break off and not leave a half ball pot on. He's left a half-ball pot on.
Yeah, he's just not getting enough side spin to get in behind the green. And 9 times out of 10, John Higgins will pot this red. This is not one of those 9.
Yeah, I just don't think he's settled yet, John. He's had a funny season, really, John, hasn't he? He was early on in the season, he was talking about giving the game up and wasn't enjoying practicing, which is the hardest part when you get to a certain age, shall we say, that coming out here and playing in the arena is a joy, but it's all the hard work you've got to put in on the practice table to be able to produce your best in these situations. But talking to our co-commentator Alan McManus the other day, he said he's been putting a lot of work in with Stephen Maguire and Anthony McGill. But if you've not been getting results, then it can make you a little bit edgy on certain shots.
Yeah, it's amazing. He lost in the final of the China Open right at the beginning of the season to Mark Selby, the China Championship 10-9. But it's been a very barren season from then on. I think that final took a lot out of him last year, didn't it? The World Championship final. He was absolutely devastated. And the previous final that we spoke about as well against Mark Selby, when he had a good lead as well. I think that frustration and sort of disappointment continued through the season. And that's why he hasn't had the results that we're so well accustomed to from one of the best that's ever played the game. But he has the proven pedigree of that. There is no doubt. And if anything that's going to get him going, it is the Crucible Theatre here in the World Championship. But he's got a match on.
Very close, but rattling in the jaws made it very awkward queuing now for Mark.
I think for some of the seeds, John, you know, in the first round, who were already seeded through to the first round of this World Championship, you're probably hoping for a debutant, aren't you, to play like one of the qualifiers that hasn't been here and might be a little bit nervous. But Mark Davis is far from one of those. He's been here, I think, 11 times now at the Crucible. Very, very experienced player.
There's a chance though for John. I just wonder about the green. It may just put him off slightly. It isn't so much that it's hampering him, but when he pushes a cue through, he's got to make certain he doesn't deviate it and touch the green. No, played it well. Throw was off-putting. Now does the pink go? Does. It certainly does. Wow.
John Higgins won.
You've not seen many of those. So as I thought, it's just not settled yet. Maybe edging on it in the right side of the pocket as we look, because he thought the black was half covering it, but didn't expect him to miss that.
One.
And of course, when you make mistakes, leave your opponent in, and he doesn't punish you, just gives your opponent more confidence.
Six.
Big chance for Mark Davis. Wanted to get on the red that's actually on the black spot. Because if he pots the red, pots the black, it looks like the yellow spot is free. And the black will go up on the yellow spot and tie that up. So he's really got to take the red here that's actually on the black spot. Doesn't have to do anything with the cue ball, just drop it in. Nice pace. Yeah, good shot.
7.
Yeah, it looks so simple, and yet you could see from his body language he didn't really want to play it like that. Now, someone like Mark Williams, he loves dropping them in dead weight. Some people like to get through the ball a bit firmer.
40.
Straighter on this red would have been ideal. It's just a bit short. So there's a little bit of work to do with the cue ball. If he plays the run through, you feel as though he's going to be kissing the second red. Whether that will give him position on the black or not, I'm not certain.
$50.
Well, he managed to get into it enough, but he could never get the right side of the blue. So he's going to get this shot right, in and out of ball. You would have thought he'd try and go in between brown and green. Deep screw, lots of right-hand side. He didn't get it. Where's the brown ball going? Still got half a chance here. He may just find a gap between the two reds to swing the cue ball round, and if he pots it, surely he'll be guaranteed to be at least have the brown to the far corner.
Yeah, he may run into the pink here as well and stay on the black. Yeah.
21.
I'd like to have been further away from the cushion. May have to dig down on the cue ball and go into the pack here to hold for the red to the left corner. He's digging down. Yeah. Makes it a little bit more difficult when you're digging down on the cue ball. Again, may have had a result there.
Yeah, as Ken said, makes it that much more difficult. But as Ken also said, he's not left anything easy, that's for sure. Once he'd missed the black, well, when you miss a black off the spot, you're usually leaving your opponent in amongst the balls, but that wasn't the case.
May have left an edge on this red into this. Wanted to cover this red with the yellow, John Higgins, and I don't think he's done that. This red may cut back. And of course the brown is always there, should it just go in. Well, he didn't think maybe that he had enough of it. No. This is a tough one for John Higgins, and particularly after missing that pink earlier in this frame. Just got to concentrate on the pot here. Don't worry about the cue ball. The brown is over the hole. Great pot. Now, how's your look?
Well,
he's okay. Brown was always there. He's knocked the red up into the balk area as well. And that was a pressure pot, and he duly obliged. Excellent cueing.
I'm just wondering here, Ken. I mean, I know it's a bit of a long shot, but I wonder if there's any value trying to pot the brown, come round off 3 cushions and try and cannon the black and the red. He had a good line, a bit more pace, it'd have been perfect.
5.
Commentator's eye. Going to be very difficult to win the frame from this position because of pink and black. A little bit out of commission. Interesting. Now, will John play for blue or just a ball colour? Needs a good angle when potting this red. Good angle on his next colour. May elect to go back up for blue.
Thank you.
Could have hit that a little bit harder. I don't think the blue is the shot
12.
now, so green of side cushion, try and hit the pack of 5 reds around the pink spot.
Well, played it lovely. It could have worked out better though.
50.
Couldn't have hit them better. But as I always say, when you go into the reds playing the cannon, you always need a little bit of luck. And this is where experience tells you you've got to be patient.
Yeah, and that's why he's taking his time, and he's a little bit frustrated that he didn't get a better split because he couldn't have hit that green any better. So red back up into the green pocket. Great shot. Didn't play it with top spin, stunned it instead. A quick look at the scores, and it was an excellent pot. We've still got a lot of work to do. Again,
21.
not the greatest shot. He wanted an angle on this red. It looks very, very straight.
Yeah, couldn't be straighter. And if he screws back direct, he's got to be careful of being off into the left middle here. So it's hard to see how he can get the right side of the blue without risking the off. No, he couldn't do it. So he played for the blue into the far right corner. Just the way the balls are situated, really, that's making it difficult. He's gone in front though now, 2 points in the lead. Well, does he think he, well, he may have thought he could get to the right hand one of these two, but he won't see enough of it surely.
27.
So I think he's just a safety shot to play. But he's got a 7-point lead. He's right back in the frame. Well, he thought he could hit enough of it, and he was mistaken.
John Higgins, 27.
He's a little bit at 6s and 7s at the moment, John Higgins. Oh, a long way away. Has he covered this red? Maybe just enough. John Higgins coming around, having a look at the angle.
Well, it was one of those you think, well, just hit it as thin as I can, bound to pot it. And need a respray, that red.
Took the paint off it. Now, I'm just wondering, will Mark Davis go up for the blue, or will he try and develop the black? Looks like he's just going up for the... Well, he tried to develop the black, and it's not a bad idea. Knew we needed the black into play. If we could win the frame from this visit, it was a good effort.
Well, if he plays the black to the middle, good luck with this one. And you just got to roll it in dead weight, and that will leave the cue ball near the side cushion. So straight blue to the far right corner. A little bit of pressure on it, but such a good potter. I fancy him to get it. Good solid pot now. Has he held the blue spot? If he hasn't, he'll be hampered for the red he's closest to.
6.
Well, he's got this one to the left corner. And cued it lovely. Just a little bit short of pace, but he's okay. Got the blue to the far left corner. Couldn't say the cue ball's on a string, but keep potting. And the point's now all square.
Just about. Wiped its feet when he hit it. He thought he'd missed it. That's why he stayed down
12.
on it for so long. Wants to be just off straight on this blue, so he can just drop the blue in, get the cue ball close to the pink and red. Wasn't straight enough on the blue, obviously. Needs an angle on this red. And he's played it very well indeed.
18.
Yeah, it's slightly into a blind pocket. You've got to be accurate with these. Just caught the near
Mark
jaw.
Davis, 18.
Well, missed the pot by a ways, but left anything. Well, can't really see either red full in the face. Can he just get it now? He's having to play off the top cushion just to nestle into this red here. Good touch. Well, if Mark can kick this red up the table and the red not run into the black, he could get advantage in this situation, but obviously that shot's not on, so just hitting what he can of this red by the pink. Yeah, it's a good shot. I think John can get through to it, either reds, of the reds. Didn't play the pot there. Just played the safety, and it's a good one. Good length with the cue ball. Catching the blue, not the best idea, but well, this red is cuttable, but I don't think John will be taking it on. He's lost the first 2 frames of this session. He needs to win one soon. Otherwise, the fact that, as we've been mentioning, that Mark Davis has been his nemesis on a few occasions might start moving its head again. Yeah, no value taking the pot, but where's the cue ball going?
Foul. John Higgins 4.
Cost him 4 points, that's all.
Be very precise with this. Good shot. Didn't move the second red into an open play, and that's all he wanted to do there. Sacrifice position of the cue ball. Hands a slight advantage to John Higgins, but again, in this situation, you just want to keep the both reds in a safe position. Even if you can't get the cue ball behind the ball colour or close to the ball cushion, you mustn't leave your opponent an easy shot to nothing back the bulk or a possible pot. But a big target behind blue, brown and green here. But again, got to keep the red safe. Don't want to knock it over the corner pocket. And again, he's had a result here. Wow. Years of experience that.
Well, the run of the ball is just massive sometimes in this wonderful game of ours. I mean, things that happen on a 12-foot by 6-foot table you can't believe. I did the match last night with Stephen Maguire and Tian Peng Fei, and Stephen Maguire fluked a blue that was just unbelievable. I mean, he was on his way out, Stephen, and he'd admit that. But, you know, you get good run, you get bad run. And that's why the World Championship is the great test, because you'd like to think over the amount of frames they play that it's got time to even out. That was well played from John. Frustration of not being on the pot, being snookered. It's easy just to lose your rag a little bit.
Tense times in this match now. Very important frame for both players. And you would feel more so for John Higgins than Mark Davis. Mark Davis's tail certainly up. John Higgins struggling a little bit. It's not often you'd say that about John Higgins at the World Championship, but he's on the rope slightly. He needs a frame to settle him down. So big moments in this match already. Surprised Mark Davis didn't try and get a bit of distance between cue ball and the reds here, because he could be in a bit of trouble in his next shot. Certainly a lot of distance between cue ball and red, and maybe even snookered. Ooh.
Well, maybe value. Well, he's not looking at it. I was thinking there may be value of playing the cut here, because you'd hit the other red half ball and the cue ball will still go back to the ball end. But he's played a perfect shot here. This is inch perfect. Well, in the end, decides to play the hits and hope, and the way things are running for John at the moment, he's probably thinking, well, I knew that was going to happen. Straightforward red, nothing to do with the cue ball, be nicely on the yellow. Given a bit of thought, I don't really know why he would.
One.
And a nice angle on the yellow to come down. Now, the one thing he wants to do, he wants to get close to this red, but the last thing he wants to be is straight. Needs an angle to get back up the table for a colour. That's not bad, but it's missable. Don't want to really be playing this with a lot of pace if you can help it. Just cue it smooth if you can.
Yeah, it's almost like chipping it in, but it looks like he's screwing it in off the top and side cushion. Always missable when you do that. And
Mark Davis 3.
well, that's a bad miss from Mark Davis. Great opportunity to put another frame on the board. Just had to really pot the red. He was always going to be on a colour. Trying to get close up to those colours in balk now. What a chance for John Higgins.
One.
What a reprieve this will be. Not a great angle on the yellow, unless the yellow goes into the green pocket when he pots this.
Yeah, he had a quick look to see if the yellow will pass the brown. He's had another look. I think it does. If that's the case, just pot the yellow and play a little drop cannon onto the black to hold the cue ball. So 7 points behind. He's going to need up to and including the pink to clinch the frame. And this is the only tricky shot. Doesn't want to snooker himself with the blue.
5.
Could have been done with being straighter on this brown, John. He's got a little angle.
And the thing is, as we've said before, they've just got the mid-session interval on the other side. People are walking up the stairs. They should be stopped from doing that. You just felt it just put John off slightly. Okay, he's potted the brown, but he's not perfect on this blue to get close to the pink. He's got to avoid the kiss on the black if he's going to try and swing it round off 3 cushions. Oh, that's a
17.
wonderful shot. Well played. So just the pink needed to get his first frame on the board this afternoon. And as I say, there's a murmuring going on. You've got to really concentrate, focus. This pink for the frame. Well done. Well played. That was an excellent clearance there from John Higgins. And that was a bit more like it. Mark Davies there had his chance. Missed that red along the top cushion. And from being 1 behind, he's now 2 behind again. It's 7-5, John Higgins.
John Higgins to break.
So last frame before the mid-session interval. John Higgins would like to re-establish that 3-frame lead. Whereas Mark Davis would like to get it back to just 1. And here you see the difference in the break-off, the 2 players. Even though John breaks from the other side of the table, from the green side, a lot of right-handers break from between the yellow and brown. Not close to the ball cushion, and he has a red just above the black that he will be playing as a safety shot, but also a chance of potting it. Safety was priority there, and he's done a good job. Excellent shot.
Yes, and when you have a cluster like this with reds on either side of it in the open, it's not just a straightforward come off the side cushion, nestle into the cluster below the pink, because you're going to leave a red on. Now normally with this type of shot you see a player playing 2 cushion escape with pace, and that's what he's decided to do. Can't catch the red too full though.
Foul and a miss.
Well, that was a good sighter. And as long as he doesn't leave a free ball.
Yeah.
Tell you what, that wasn't far off being a free ball, was it? Maybe not.
Mark. Yeah, John.
And that's the problem. This time caught it much too thick. But he's been fortunate. He's not left anything easy for John.
He'll be having a go. He's sizing this red up into the top right-hand corner pocket, the green pocket. As we look. No. And he's left it. We're just miles away from that.
Every credit for fully committing to it, but as you say, I mean, if it gets in the jaws, he may well have not left it, but he didn't get in the jaws. If I was a John Higgins supporter, I'd be a little bit worried at the moment.
Nice angle to go into the reds here, but there is a red at the bottom of the pack that's available. But taking the opportunity to split the reds as quickly as possible. It's not a bad idea. Didn't get the best
6.
split. And he has a couple of options. The red beside the pink does pot into the right centre, but it's just a little bit too close for comfort, so he's taking this red into the left corner. Good shot.
7.
Nicely controlled on top side of the blue. I'll try and get on a red just above the black. And get back around this black area.
I just got to judge it off 2 cushions, this. Oh, he could hold. He could hold comfortably. That, if anything, held too well.
12.
But he's okay. Pot this red, play a little cannon on the second red to hold for the black.
13.
Now he's got to make the most of this opportunity. There's a mid-session interval after this. And if you'd have said to him, you're going to play 4 frames before the mid-session interval, you're going to win 3 of them, he'd have taken that.
Yeah, that would have been his
20.
target coming into the second session. Win 3 of the first 4 and you're back in the match. You see there's a red at the bottom of the pack that will also pot into this bottom left-hand corner pocket. He's coming around just to have a look at that again.
Yeah, I think he's worried if he plays the run round of 2 cushions and it swings a bit wide, he might run into those 2 reds together near the right-hand side cushion. So he's playing to stun it off 1 cushion. Didn't get enough stun, and those 2 reds have now become an obstacle.
$28.
I think he's maybe just okay. Can he cue between the 2 reds? Just get enough of the cue ball that he can pot this red and run through with the cue ball and be back on the black. Yeah, just enough.
29.
Nicely played.
Yeah, and you could say it was a nice run of the balls to be able to fit your cue right through that gap, wasn't it? On a bad day, you're going to be hampered. So the frame's at his mercy. Just got to hold himself together now.
Yeah, delicate little cannon on the red directly above the black. Just to hold the cue ball. Play that nicely. And now they're all there, back in prime position.
36. 37.
And there's no better way to eradicate the disappointment of the misread from the last frame. Making a big break in the next.
44. 45.
One of these situations, if he was straight on the black, it wouldn't really matter. Just screw on and off the side cushion. Got a choice of 4 reds to play for. Well, he just needed a little touch aside just to widen the angle.
52.
A little bit careless. Still got pots on, but just needed a little bit of right-hand side just to avoid kissing that red. As I say, he's still got pots on, but they're missable, and he's not guaranteed position on the colour. He's looking at this one to the left corner. He'd run into the other red and would hold him for the black, but the other red he's hitting could mess the black up.
Yeah.
But that seems that's going to be his choice.
Which one, Mark? Extended, yeah.
drop this in, cannon the other red and hold for the black. It's a delicate little shot. Yeah, he's played it nicely. Just made sure that the red didn't come off the top cushion and block the path of the black to the right corner pocket, as you quite rightly said. That could possibly go wrong, but executed very well indeed. Now
60.
looking good again. 56 the difference now.
61.
57, so getting to the point. No return for John Higgins.
66. Quiet as you can, please.
It just didn't stun down far enough, so he's having to use the rest, but just this red and the black to get to snooker's required.
Thank you.
Played it nicely.
67.
Now what I suggest he does, and I think that red that's just next to the pink will go to the middle. Just stun in behind that off the black. And whatever you do now, don't play this with any pace. Just make certain of the red and keep John Higgins in his seat, and you'll be going to the dressing room. Just one behind, having come out 3 behind.
75.
This has been an excellent break, hasn't it? Came after John Higgins missed that red up into the green pocket. Good, fantastic response from Mark Davis
81.
after the disappointment of the last frame.
82.
Well, when you see him ram that red in, you wonder how he missed the red in the last frame.
Well, he's missed the red, but a wonderful break of 82 for Mark Davis. And puts another frame on the board. The deficit is only 1. He's only 1 behind John Higgins now.
Mark Davis to break.
Just notice a slight adjustment of the cue ball there. And Mark trying to cover this red to the right corner, and he's done it probably for the first time in the match. Right back in it. There you see the green covering the red. All to play for now. So I'm just looking to see if there's a possible plant there. Well, he's playing it. He will have a path back to balk, so there's no real danger with it. But there will be if it goes in. Flick the green, but if he comes this side of the balk line, he'll be on the brown or the yellow. So he covered the pot and left the plant.
Yeah, and I like the way John Higgins played that. Didn't play it with any sort of element of safety. Made sure he played it hard enough that it would come back up off the ball cushion and be on one of these ball colours. And now, don't tell me he's gone too far for the red to the right of the pink. The second red pot, so he's okay.
Four.
You always deem it a good chance when a few reds in the open, black available into both corners.
If the pink doesn't spot, we'll go up on the green spot. Referee Rob Spencer just using his ball marker to check, and obviously the pink does spot.
Thanks, John. 10.
But John Higgins won't be worried about that. There's plenty of reds available and black is available. He needs to get his cue arm going here, John Higgins.
Thank you.
Get a bit
11.
of confidence back. I thought that frame that he won on the pink. Might have been a kickstarter for him, but missed the red and gave Mark Davis the opportunity to make that 82 break in the last frame. So needs to get his arm going again here.
19.
Still a few loose reds available, so no need to play the cannon. And off the black, it's not a good pack to go in, actually. If you were eventually going to go into clear reds, or bring that cluster of reds into play below the pink, you're probably better doing it off the blue. Straight on the black, you play for the one along the top cushion here. And you're all right as long as you don't leave it too straight. He's left a nice angle just to drop it in.
34. $35.
He won't go into the pack here. He'll be tracking two of the loose reds.
$42. Yeah.
And I think maybe, John, if he gets a nice angle on the black from this red here, he may go into the pack then, but make sure that he'll still leave at least one loose red available if the split doesn't work out. So wants a nice angle on the black. If he doesn't get it, he's still always got the loose red.
Well, he hasn't got it, so he'll have to play for the loose red. And maybe in playing for that loose red, it'd give him well, he couldn't be straighter, could he? So deep screw, right hand side, just to widen it off the cushion. And now we'll be looking for an angle off this red
50.
On the blue to try and develop the other reds, because nothing else is available.
51.
A little bit thinner on the blue than he would like. Needs to hit the pink full ball here to hold the cue ball in the middle of the table. Didn't. He may still have a red, but that cue ball close to the cushion,
56.
It's anything but easy.
Yeah, that's the problem when you don't hit the pink full ball, but it's okay. He's got a slight angle on this red. Runner off two cushions with a black. Oh, he's cued that very well indeed. That was an excellent shot. Break goes to 57. Black will be 64. So just the one loose red. Won't have to worry about the developing the pack of 5. This loose red and the high value colour will be enough. And this has been a good break. All came from that plant
64.
at the beginning of the frame.
$65.
Just needs the black, but the perfect angle to break into the remaining 5 reds. And they've opened it beautifully. And it just shows you, and we were talking earlier about the break-off shot, and it looked as though Mark Davis had found a way of not leaving the half-ball pot and left a plant. So one shot, and that's end of frame.
Yeah, and it was a good break, just a bit unlucky. Well, he left the... Well, I do like the way John Higgins played the plant.
80.
Completely committed to it. Made sure that the cue
81.
ball came in and out of balk, so he'd have a chance of a ball colour to try and keep the break going. And it's been an excellent break.
$86.
That's the thing about John Higgins. When you think you have him on the rack, just one
87.
chance, and he can create something like this, as all great champions can.
Yeah, and that's experience. Don't panic. It's easier said than done, of course.
94. 95.
Wonderful century break from John Higgins. Flawless and well
102.
appreciated by this packed, crucible audience.
103.
I'm certain Mark Davis came out and thought, right, I'm going to break off, don't leave him a chance.
108.
He left the plant. And just having one shot, and all of a sudden he's two behind again.
110.
Yeah, I have to say he was very unfortunate to leave the plant.
113.
But a lesson to all aspiring snooker players. Always have a good look at the balls down at the end of the table, and it was well spotted, that plant, from John. And boys, he made the
170.
most of it.
$122. 128.
Well, there's a noise in the arena. I'm not quite certain what it is.
135 in the
Well,
front.
a wonderful 135 break by John Higgins. And he stretches his lead once again to 2 frames. It's now 8-6, 2 away from a place in the second round.
Well, this red does pot, the one just to the right of the black spot, and there is a little gap through the reds. Yeah, good shot, and he's held it nicely for a ball colour. Excellent shot. Nice angle on the green here. May elect to go into the pack just below the pink. Doesn't have to. There are a few available reds. Decided against going into the... Well, I thought he might go into the couple of reds there below the pink and try and bring the pink into play. Well, that shot will tell us that the black does pot.
5.
And he can stun the black in and just up for the red, just above the black spot.
$12. 13.
Now, nice Nice angle on the black if he wants to just screw up into the reds and try and develop some more. Would you believe it? Too much. Is he on anything?
20.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I think this red will pass the pink to the left middle. I think it just about goes. Yeah, played it well. And now he's knocked that in. A good chance to win the frame at this visit and get within one of that coveted place in the second round.
$23. $24.
Just a little bit pacey. So I've got to go in and out of the balk end. So needs to do a little bit with the cue ball here. Just playing in and out of balk. Right hand side. Played it nicely.
29.
Yeah, beautiful control. The cue ball purposely playing on this red now. And he can drop this red off one cushion, back on for the black.
$30.
Plenty of loose reds available, so won't have to worry about any more cannons or trying to develop reds. He just came around to have a look. The two reds above the black, the one on the right, I'm sure is available into the right corner pocket.
38.
So that would be his next preference. And that looks inch perfect. And when he puts this one, of course, it will release the one
45.
just to the left of it.
$46.
Quickly having a look, doesn't want to be too straight on this black, but you get the feeling he is. Oh, couldn't be straighter. Doesn't want to play for one of the reds along the top cushion, it appears. So just had to do a little bit more with the cue ball, but played it nicely. Can't get on the black off this red, of course, so go up for blue or balk colour. He's getting very close to Snooker's required here.
$54.
This blue, one more red, all that's required. Played the cannon. He's okay. He's got the red to the right middle, and the red will put him 68
59.
points in front with just 67 remaining.
60.
Yeah, no heroics with that red. And this has been a wonderful break from John Higgins. Forced the error from Mark Davis with some good safety play. And when he's got his
65.
opportunity, he's duly taken it.
66.
So he's going to go 2 up with just needing one more for a place
73.
into the second round.
74.
It's been really a high quality match, hasn't it, John? Excellent stuff.
Been impressed. John Higgins on occasions has just not looked 100%, but then he gets opportunities like this. He's made 135 break in frame 14. Not certain about the availability of that red just below the pink, although it looks as, looking at that shot, looks as though it is available. So this could be another century. Would be his third of the match.
89. 90.
Red in a colour for his third century of the match and the 21st
98.
of the tournament. And we're only on day 3. Wonderful. John Higgins at his very best. Played some brilliant safety to force the mistake from his opponent. And one mistake was all it took. Nothing Mark Davis could do about this. He nestled on the red, on a red next to the black. You thought, well, that's pretty safe, but good opening red from John Higgins. And once again, becomes a potting machine when he gets in amongst the balls.
114.
Made a 135 in frame 14.
119. 125.
And a nice 1-3-2 in that. And he puts his cue on the table. He's going back to the dressing room to get ready, because he only needs one more frame to beat his nemesis, Mark Davis. John Higgins leads 9 frames to 7.
Reds around the black spot are potable into this bottom
Why is
right-hand
this
corner
possible,
pocket.
please?
Just puts the cue ball in some sort of an area here. He'll have a choice of reds. That's okay. Red to right centre or red into bottom left-hand corner pocket. I think the red to right centre here, John, is probably most preferable.
Yeah, for position, it's a little bit more difficult than the one to the left corner, but if he plays the one to the left corner, he's going to avoid the kiss on the blue. And the one to the right middle, which is missable, and we've seen him miss a couple into this right middle already. So he won't be taking this for granted. But this is a chance he was looking for. This frame for the match. Nicely played. Just shows you it was both playing those safety shots behind the yellow and brown, and it was John Higgins who got the snooker first, and that could be the difference. Nothing Mark Davis can do now. Just got to sit there and,
14.
well, to be honest, hope that something goes wrong for John Higgins.
15.
Yeah, just got to keep a good control of the cue ball here. As I said, at least 3 of those 4 reds around the black spot are potable into the right-hand corner pocket, if not maybe them all. So if you could take those with pinks, you won't need any of the difficult reds that are close to the left-hand side cushion.
21.
Now, has he stunned the cue ball far enough for this red left of the pink? His first mistake in this break so far. Oh, another one. Well, he
John
had an
Higgins, 21.
elementary pink just to stun in a couple of inches below the spot with the cue ball. And left himself that red. And you can see that one coming, John.
Yeah, well, he was playing it with a tracer right-hand side, wasn't he? And because he didn't hit it as firm as he thought, the side didn't throw as much, and that's why he hit it too thick. So this is a reprieve from Mark Davis. What can he make of it?
Cheers, Mark. Thank you.
It's not the easiest chance, of course, with the blue and black out of commission, but it's a chance. The chance has
Mark
gone.
Davis, 1.
Will he get another one?
And that's just pressure. Understandable. Just getting down to the nitty-gritty now in this match, and he'd be disappointed with that. Didn't push the cue. Threw nice and straight. Threw a bit of side on the cue ball and
Yeah, sure.
threw it offline. Believe it or not, that's the first pink he's missed off the spot in the whole match. What a time to do it.
1. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Seven.
Just looking at those
8.
two reds in the middle of the one he potted and the other one, I just wonder whether there's a possible plant there. That could help. He's just coming around to have a look at it. There's enough room between the two reds. It can be made, that, no doubt. got to be made.
15.
But no problem. And of course that plank is now released. Another red. So that pink puts him 36 points in front. These 3 reds in the open with pinks would be
21.
more than enough to get him to the snooker's required stage. A quick glance at the scoreboard confirms that.
22.
I think he's got a slight angle on the pink. And just come off 2 cushions here. Well, he just played it. So he left himself a nice angle on this red, just below the black spot.
28.
You see, 43 points ahead. Still 67 remaining. So 2 reds and colours, as John said.
29.
That was a good shot. And got a nice angle on the pink.
Looks like the seed has weathered the storm. This
35.
red and 1 more colour to get to the 2 snookers required stage.
36.
That puts him 51 points in front, 51 remaining. Pink, you would think, to make certain, and Mark Davis has given it his best shot. Just thinking the safety exchanges, he's just come off second best. There's pink for the match. But it's not there.
John Higgins.
Okay,
36.
51 points the lead, 51 remaining. Still a big, big favourite, John Higgins. But it's not over just yet.
Thank you. Now, please.
Well, I was surprised the way he played it, John. He stunned it in as opposed to just dropping it in, giving it a chance to get into the pocket. He could take the black out here. He's going to need that out in the open, and he can get the cue ball down into the bulk area. Didn't bring the black into play. Yeah, chance to knock the black out into the middle of the table here from Mark Davis if he wishes. Doesn't like it this time.
Yeah, I think he's just got to show a little bit of patience now. As I say, John Higgins still a big favourite for this frame, but he's been offered a little bit of a lifeline as Mark. Now can John Higgins get through? Of all the top players, John Higgins, to me, is as good a doubler of a ball. And I think you play the double here. If the match over, should it go in? It's gone in! As good as anyone in the game.
Yeah, good shout, John. Excellent shot. This yellow.
Cheers, John. Thank you.
Put on 54 points ahead with just 43 remaining.
Yes, you could say he's been given a very good workout here, and Mark Davis, every credit to him, has proved his merit, but it just wasn't good enough on the day. John Higgins has made 2 marvellous century breaks And a couple of times when Mark Davis has broke off, left
John
him
Higgins, 3.
chances, and that's the only shot he got in frames. So it looks like John Higgins now is certain to be through to round 2.
Been an excellent match, hasn't it, John? It's been high quality, lots of big breaks.
Yeah, played at a good pace, some excellent safety play, excellent potting and break building. But I think it's going to be handshake time now. The etiquette, of course, when it's your opponent's turn at the table, that you don't stop him coming there. Although with it being the last frame, I don't know why he didn't shake his hand.
1.
But John Higgins will be mighty relieved. Not been at his absolute best, it has to be said, but when he's been asked questions, he's responded in typical John Higgins fashion. Wasn't bothered about getting position on this red.
6.
He knows the handshake's coming. And as all the seeds are, they're always relieved to get through the first round. Well, the contact double. Told he's a good doubler.
You've always liked a double as well, John, haven't you?
30.
And even though he hasn't come into this tournament with good form, he's still going to be tough to beat no matter who he plays.
Yeah, absolutely. Because John Higgins come the crucible, he lights up. Mark Davis gives him a warm handshake, and I'm certain wishing him the best for the rest of the tournament. John Higgins, as I say, when it comes to playing in the World Championship at this wonderful theatre, he knows how to perform. And he produced the goods at the right time. And he runs through and wins by 10 frames to 7. He's in the second round.
So John Higgins is into the second round. We'll be back with more action at 10 o'clock on BBC Two. Until then, good night.
Very, very big and shining. Huh? I think the names are engraved on it, but more, I don't know. Must be a great moment if the player rises it and won it. But unfortunately, I didn't win it.